So we'll start with you, Sharon. Can you tell us a little bit more about how did you get interested in curriculum and instructional design?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first of all, most people I have experience with don't go straight to instructional design. It's often a field you kind of slide into or find yourself in, and that's definitely what has happened with me. I started in the field of teaching English as a second language, and I taught students mainly online for about 10 years, working with VIP Kid for the past 6 years. I taught with them teaching actual students only for about 6 months, and then I moved into a position where I was training new teachers to evaluate the things they were already doing well and to kind of upskill them and get them prepared for teaching online. And then I started shifting into creating new rubrics for evaluating teachers and creating new training material for them. And I really enjoyed that. And I thought, I wonder if I could do this kind of on a broader scale. And so I took a course to learn more about instructional design, and kind of at the same time, a company in China reached out to me. That was just another English teaching school kind of company, and they were setting up lots of different schools, and they needed someone that would create training material both for their teachers and help them design the curriculum. So it was kind of a nice branch from the things that I had been doing before. So I worked kind of as like a curriculum designer, helping them decide what would they teach in the classes, and then I would outline what the courses would look like and write facilitator guides for the teachers, and then make the training material for the teachers. So it really was a nice way to kind of bridge into the instructional design and focusing on just what the teachers would be learning for the instructional element as opposed to just the curriculum design. And then I started looking into roles for corporate jobs, and I found a position working in IKEA. So I'm just doing instructional design as opposed to the curriculum design now, but again, it is kind of like this gray overlapping area to get me where I am today.
No, that's such an interesting story. It's really interesting to hear about your experiences, and we're definitely going to talk about some of that overlap between those different areas. It's interesting that you've had experience in both. Thank you for sharing that with us. What about you, Cassy? How did you get into this?
Yeah, definitely. For me, it was more of a curiosity factor. I began before I was a teacher. I actually I was working in corporate America, and I was working as part of a training department, kind of like as a coach, kind of helping new people type of thing. And I would wonder who is writing these materials, like who is the writer of this, you know? And so basically at that point, I began to get curious about who's developing these materials that I'm helping people with, you know? And so that's where I actually discovered instructional design. There was actually an instructional design team sitting back there. And so I didn't become an instructional designer there, but then I was going to school, and then during my fellowship, during my master's degree, I got to teach, and then really got into the curriculum building, really how it worked. I have a related degree, but not an instructional design degree, but we did some pedagogy there. Like Sharon spoke about, we learned about rubrics and all of that. And then, you know, we got to teach the lower levels of my degree at the time. And so from there, then I got into teaching, and then you really get in the mix, and you're like, oh man, this is how it happens. This is the development of this whole shebang. And then kind of like Sharon, you kind of just like transition out. And one of those, I just, you know, I was thinking this would be really cool to do also on a corporate level, kind of like, you know, I kind of come from corporate, kind of found out about it, corporate, then I was going to school, did school. And then after that, I thought, what would it be to actually be those people who were creating the material back then? And so basically, that's how I got really curious about it. And then I got hired as kind of like a lower level part of the training department. And from there, really, that's where the instructional designers were. And that's where I moved up from to become an instructional designer. So I was basically kind of, we'll say, born in the corporate world, then went to academia, went to the corporate world, and now I'm in academia again with Bridge. So, but like Sharon said, it's like a complete transition. Sometimes it's curriculum design, sometimes it's instructional design. There's definitely similarities. There's definitely crossover. So I'm excited to talk about it for sure.